The 1980s in America were marked by a chilling period known as the Satanic Panic. This era was characterized by a widespread and irrational fear that satanic cults were infiltrating communities across the nation. This period saw widespread fear and paranoia about satanic cults operating secretly within communities. Sensational headlines and dramatic news reports only served to fan the flames of hysteria. People believed these cults were engaging in horrific acts, including ritualistic abuse and even human sacrifice. The fear was palpable, and the stories were often more fiction than fact, but they were believed nonetheless. This fear, fueled by sensationalized media reports and a lack of critical examination, had a profound impact on American society. News anchors delivered their reports with grave seriousness, adding to the sense of urgency and danger. The panic led to false accusations, wrongful convictions, and a deep mistrust of those perceived as different or unconventional. Innocent people found themselves caught in a web of suspicion and fear, their lives forever altered by baseless claims. The origins of the Satanic Panic can be traced back to a number of factors, including a resurgence of cultural anxieties about the occult and the rise of evangelical Christianity. Religious leaders often spoke out against the perceived threat, further stoking the fires of fear. This period also saw a growing awareness of child abuse, but the conversation was often intertwined with unfounded fears about satanic influences. Parents were terrified for their children's safety, and community meetings were held to discuss how to protect the young from these imagined threats. Talk shows and public debates further amplified the hysteria, with experts and lay people alike weighing in on the supposed epidemic. The line between reality and fiction became increasingly blurred as the media continued to exploit the public's fears for ratings. Law enforcement agencies conducted raids and investigations, often based on little more than rumors and hearsay. The impact on communities was devastating, as trust in neighbors and local institutions eroded. Psychological experts of the time also played a role, with some therapists promoting the idea of repressed memories of satanic abuse. These controversial practices led to further confusion and false allegations, as individuals came to believe they had been victims of horrific crimes. Looking back, the Satanic Panic serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of mass hysteria and the importance of critical thinking. Many of those who lived through it still bear the scars of that tumultuous time, a reminder of how easily fear can take hold and spread. While the Satanic Panic eventually faded, its legacy remains a powerful example of how societal fears can be manipulated and magnified. Today, we can learn from this dark chapter in history, striving to approach sensational claims with skepticism and a demand for evidence. The publication of the book Michelle Remembers in 1980 is widely considered to be a pivotal moment in the development of the panic. This book, co-authored by Michelle Smith and her psychiatrist Lawrence Pazder, told the harrowing story of Smith's alleged childhood memories of satanic ritual abuse. The narrative was both shocking and compelling, capturing the imagination of a public already on edge. Michelle Remembers became a bestseller and helped to popularize the idea that satanic cults were widespread and engaged in horrific practices. The book's graphic descriptions of abuse and torture resonated with a public already primed to fear the occult. The vivid and disturbing accounts detailed in the book seem to confirm the worst fears of many, leading to a surge in public interest and concern. However, the book's credibility came under intense scrutiny, with many experts questioning the validity of Smith's recovered memories. Critics argued that the book presented a distorted and sensationalized view of satanic activity, contributing to a climate of fear and suspicion. Despite these criticisms, Michelle Remembers had a profound impact on the public imagination. The book's success helped to create a receptive audience for other accounts of satanic ritual abuse, many of which were equally dubious. As the 1980s progressed, the Satanic Panic gained momentum, fueled by media coverage, law enforcement investigations, and the proliferation of self-proclaimed experts on satanic cults. The media played a significant role in amplifying the fear, with sensational headlines and dramatic news reports that often lacked critical scrutiny. The influence of Michelle Remembers extended beyond the book itself. It inspired a wave of similar publications, each claiming to reveal hidden truths about satanic rituals and abuse. These books, along with television shows and movies, created a feedback loop that reinforced the public's fears. Law enforcement agencies, influenced by the growing panic, began to take reports of satanic activity more seriously. This led to numerous investigations and prosecutions, many of which were based on dubious evidence and questionable testimony. The impact of Michelle Remembers and the subsequent Satanic Panic was far-reaching. It affected not only those directly involved in the investigations but also the broader society. Schools, churches, and community organizations were all touched by the fear and suspicion that the panic generated. In retrospect, the Satanic Panic serves as a cautionary tale about the power of media and the dangers of mass hysteria. It reminds us of the importance of critical thinking and the need to question sensational claims, especially when they have the potential to cause widespread harm. Today, Michelle Remembers is often cited as a key example of how misinformation can spread and take hold of the public consciousness. It stands as a stark reminder of the need for vigilance in the face of fear and the importance of seeking truth in the midst of chaos. As we look back on this period, it is crucial to understand the factors that contributed to the panic and to learn from the mistakes of the past. Only by doing so can we hope to prevent similar episodes of mass hysteria in the future. The story of Michelle Remembers and the Satanic Panic is a powerful reminder of the impact that fear and misinformation can have on society. It challenges us to remain vigilant, to question what we are told, and to seek out the truth no matter how difficult it may be to find. In the end, the legacy of Michelle Remembers is a testament to the enduring power of stories and the profound influence they can have on our beliefs and actions. It is a call to remember the past, to learn from it, and to strive for a more informed and rational future. As we move forward, let us carry with us the lessons of the Satanic Panic and work towards a world where truth and reason prevail over fear and hysteria. For in the end, it is only through understanding and knowledge that we can truly dispel the darkness and find the light. The Satanic Panic did not remain confined to the pages of Michelle Remembers. This book, co-authored by psychiatrist Lawrence Pazder and his patient Michelle Smith, claimed to document Michelle's recovered memories of horrific satanic ritual abuse. The book's sensational content and dramatic narrative captured the public's imagination, making it a bestseller and a cultural phenomenon. The book's success, coupled with a growing fascination with the occult and anxieties about child abuse, created a fertile ground for the panic to spread. People flocked to book signings, eager to hear more about the dark and mysterious world of satanic cults. The fear of the unknown, combined with the book's vivid descriptions, made the threat of satanic cults feel all too real. The media played a significant role in amplifying these fears, often presenting sensationalized and uncritical accounts of alleged satanic activity. News reports, with their dramatic headlines and alarming visuals, stoked the flames of panic. The media's focus on the most shocking and lurid details ensured that the public's attention remained fixed on the supposed threat of satanic cults. News programs, talk shows, and documentaries devoted extensive coverage to the topic, interviewing self-proclaimed experts and alleged survivors of satanic abuse. These programs often featured dramatic reenactments and emotional testimonies, further blurring the line between fact and fiction. The more sensational the story, the higher the ratings, and the more the panic spread. These media portrayals, often lacking journalistic rigor and balanced reporting, contributed to a climate of fear and suspicion. Journalists, eager for a scoop, sometimes overlooked the need for thorough investigation and fact-checking. This lack of critical scrutiny allowed misinformation and exaggeration to flourish, feeding the public's growing paranoia. The public was bombarded with images of satanic symbols, stories of ritualistic abuse, and warnings about the dangers lurking within their communities. Graffiti with pentagrams and other occult symbols seemed to appear overnight, adding to the sense of an invisible, pervasive threat. Community bulletin boards and local newspapers were filled with warnings and articles about the supposed rise of satanic cults. This widespread media attention had a powerful effect, legitimizing the claims of satanic abuse and encouraging others to come forward with their own stories. People who had previously been silent about their experiences, real or imagined, felt emboldened to speak out. The more stories that emerged, the more the panic grew, creating a self-perpetuating cycle of fear and suspicion. Law enforcement agencies, responding to public pressure and a perceived rise in satanic activity, began to dedicate more resources to investigating these crimes. Police departments across the country formed special task forces to tackle the supposed epidemic of satanic ritual abuse. Officers were trained to recognize the signs of satanic activity and to take reports of such crimes seriously. However, these investigations were often hampered by a lack of training and understanding of satanic beliefs and practices. Many officers were unfamiliar with the symbols and rituals associated with Satanism, leading to confusion and misinterpretation of evidence. This lack of expertise made it difficult to distinguish between genuine threats and harmless expressions of alternative beliefs. Law enforcement officers, influenced by the prevailing climate of fear and the often dubious claims of self-proclaimed experts, sometimes misinterpreted evidence or relied on unreliable witnesses, leading to wrongful accusations and convictions. The pressure to produce results and the desire to protect the community sometimes led to hasty and flawed investigations. Innocent people were caught in the crossfire, their lives upended by false accusations and wrongful imprisonment. The Satanic Panic also infiltrated the realm of mental health. Therapists, influenced by books like Michelle Remembers and a growing belief in the power of repressed memories, began to diagnose patients with satanic ritual abuse based on flimsy evidence. The idea that traumatic memories could be buried deep within the subconscious and later recovered through therapy became widely accepted, despite a lack of scientific support. Therapists, influenced by books like Michelle Remembers and a growing belief in the power of repressed memories, began to diagnose patients with satanic ritual abuse based on flimsy evidence. Therapy sessions often involved suggestive questioning and leading techniques, which could implant false memories in vulnerable patients. These supposed memories of satanic abuse were then treated as real, leading to further trauma and confusion for the patients. These diagnoses, often made without proper training or critical evaluation, had devastating consequences for individuals and families, leading to false accusations, broken families, and wrongful imprisonment. Families were torn apart as parents were accused of horrific crimes against their own children. The legal system, swayed by the prevailing panic, sometimes failed to protect the innocent, resulting in tragic miscarriages of justice.